Today on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat, the team at Wildfire Marine continues transformation on the 23-foot Seacraft restoration.
Back working on Corey's boat, we went ahead and shot the sides after getting it all prepped.
Stewart and Islamorada Boatworks begins the build of a 24 destined for hardcore Florida Keys fishing.
So for me in the charter business, I need a quality boat that is comfortable, built solid, and is gonna take the beating day in, day out.
George Labonte joins Dreamboat owner Mike Klauck aboard his fully restored 21-foot Mako.
At the end of the day, the boat he ended up with was well worth the wait. This is probably one of the nicest restorations we've seen on the show.
And Birdsall Marine fabricates the custom top for Corey's 23-foot Seacraft.
Everything is going to be spectacular. He's going to be overjoyed with the whole project.
All coming up on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as we follow one-off builds to all-out restorations in Stewart, Florida's Dreamboat District, home to some of the best custom boat builders in the world. From modest to over-the-top, industry experts from the district's premier facilities show how it's done. Fiberglass repair, custom paintwork, engine rigging, electronics installations, and more. And boating editor George Labonte shares the stories of boaters who have already turned their dreams into reality. This is Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat.
Back working on Corey's boat, we went ahead and shot the sides after getting it all prepped. The colors Corey picked, basically we went with a solid white bottom and we brought the white up the hull side a little bit. We went with a navy boot stripe, and then we went with a whisper gray on the sides. And the color combination is pretty good actually. When we pulled the navy blue on it, it's a pretty good color match. To recap, this boat originally was a Scepter, which had the cuddy cabin and a stern drive. And one of the reasons some of my customers have been buying the Scepters is we have a mold for the center console cap. When we built that cap mold, we did a complete blank where we covered everything. So there were no openings in it at all. And the reason we did that is in case somebody doesn't want to have a different size hatch, or they didn't want to put an anchor locker in the front, or like in this case where Corey wanted 2 lids instead of 1. So we left it blank, and then what we do is we make our channels. We just made 2 gutters out of starboard, basically 2-sided tape. We stick that into position, and then we take a clay with a little modeler piece that we can get our radius all the way around with the clay. So there'll be a nice finished piece. It'll look like the mold was made just specifically for that particular boat. Once we get the mold all ready with the clay radiuses and everything else set, we fix any little pinholes that have occurred over the years. Then we go ahead and polish the mold, wax it, and then we spray a few coats of PVA mold release on it. And the reason we do that is fresh molds, and this would be considered a fresh mold because we've only pulled probably 3 or 4 parts out of it. They can still transfer heat, and they will still bind to the part. So what you do is spray a mold release on it, which is a water-soluble polyvinyl alcohol. We spray a couple of tack coats and then a full coat of that on it. And once that dries and sets up, normally you would spray gel coat into that mold. In our case, because the rest of the boat is painted and we want to make sure everything matches, we spray a high build primer into it and then lay up on the primer. So when we pull the part out, all we have to do is wash the mold release off. We'll prep sand it the same way you do with any other part, and then spray it with our finished product to match the rest of the boat. With the hurricane that we were forecast to get, we didn't go ahead and lay up the mold. We figured we would wait. We didn't want to get caught anywhere. Rather than waste the time, we went ahead and laid out our bracket on the transom. We don't actually have the bracket here physically, so we can't drill any holes, but the layout is the same. We went ahead and found our center line. What we want to do is find the exact center for the bracket, true to the bottom, because the bottom is the only part that really counts as far as the motor performance goes. So we swing arcs from the chine to one from each side for the top and one from each side for the bottom. And that gives us our center line where they intersect. Then we go ahead and draw a straight line through that, and there's our boat center line. And from there, because this particular bracket is going to have 29-inch engine centers with twin engines, we went ahead and go 14 inches on either side from that center line to the center line of the motor. Then we go ahead and measure up our bracket mounting height, which in this case is going to be 24 inches. We take that from the bottom of the hull on that center line, go up 24 inches and mark that, and that is the top of our bracket. and we go ahead and tape that, put a mark across the transom. When we get back in, as long as everything's fine with the buildings, we'll go ahead and we'll lay up the mold for the cap and spray the inside of the boat, so we'll be ready for once the mold sets up. Give it a couple days to dry, we'll finish our paint work on the inside. We'll be able to set the cap on the boat, and we'll be in good shape on the project.
When we come back, the professionals at Stewart and Islamorada Boatworks begin the build of a customized 24. This segment brought to you by Fiberglass Coatings, the largest selection of fiberglass materials in the United States.
FGCI is a leading supplier of composite materials, family-owned for over 60 years and headquartered right here in Florida. We have the materials and technical expertise to service manufacturers, repair professionals, and DIYers alike. Our gel coat color matching is a favorite of seasoned professionals and weekend warriors. Access our online store at fgci.com, call to speak with a product specialist, or visit our stores in Fort Lauderdale or St. Petersburg. FGCI is your partner on boat projects big and small.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman, Project Dreamboat. Join us as the professionals at Stewart and Islamorada Boatworks build a 24-foot bay boat designed for serious keys fishing.
Yeah, so my name's Bob Chu, and I'm here at Stewart Boatworks and Islamorada Boatworks here in Stewart, Florida. And we are building a 24 Islamorada second station boat for Mark Johnson, Captain Mark Johnson. He operates a business out of Islamorada, Florida. And last year we built him a boat with a second station, and it was his first Islamorada with a second station. Once he got that and experienced it, he said he'll never own one without it again. So we're in the process of actually building another nearly identical boat for him.
So currently at Florida Keys Fun Fishing, we own 4 Islamorada Boatworks boats. I have 3 24s, and one of the biggest parts to making our business successful are the boats we run. In those different trips, we do so many different things. I mean, I started the model from sailfish to sea trout. When bay boats came on the market, I was like, look at this. In a matter of changing 4 spinning rods and a 10-minute boat ride under the bridge, one way or the other, I can go from catching sea trout to catching a sailfish. Same boat, same day, same guys. And you know, when you're in the charter fishing business, whether you're tournament fishing, charter fishing, you need a boat that can take the beating, like the old Timex commercial, right? Takes a beating, keeps on ticking, however that goes, it's the same. So for me in the charter business, I need a quality boat that is comfortable, built solid, rigged professionally, and is gonna take the beating day in, day out.
One of the key reasons Mark chose an Islamorada 24 was the structural integrity of the boat. When you come here, all the major components are resin infused. And ultimately what he experiences, he gets a boat that is up to 6 times stronger than a hand laminated boat. So what that means to the end user like Mark is he gets the strongest, lightest boat that he can get.
Also too, when you deal with the boat company, Islamorada Boatworks, they're a semi-custom build boat, and they can, you know, do some things for you that not everybody might need. Like for example, my aft live wells are fully insulated, and the size of them are such that they're my kill box. So all of a sudden you have 2 giant storage wells in the back of your boat that can take just about everything you want, which again frees up your deck, which again makes it more practical and more comfortable. And those 2 things are by far the most 2 important parts of what we do: comfort and practicality. One of the other signature moves I do is I take out the big giant leaning post that is common in so many of these bay boats, and I put a very simple, what we call rocket launcher, made by Birdsall, in the back that you lean against and put your rods in, and it opens up the entire cockpit of my boat. And that's important, and that room translates into comfort, it translates into practicality, and everybody that gets in my boat goes, wow, who would have thought of that? In the second station, now you're sight fishing more, you're offshore a little more, you can chase sailfish showers, you can triple tail fish, you can permit fish in the back, you can do so much with that second station. And in the charter business, I can tell you every trip on my boat can't wait to go upstairs and see Hollywood's high chair. You're up in the second station, you're checking it out. It gives mom a chance to film from up there. The kids get the ride up there. It's absolutely awesome. And it gives you a whole different perception when you're driving around the backcountry and you see all the watercolors and all the different depths. When you're up top, there is no better place to be than in a tower. So let's talk about power. Myself, I'm a giant Mercury fan. I've been running Mercury since I was a little boy down here. We were trying to go as fast as we could once upon a time. Now we just love to go fast when we need to and have a motor that runs fantastic all the time, and that's what I power my boats with. So you can push the 24 with power on the light side with a 200 or a 250, and you can power with as much as you want with a single 400. But in today's world, the 300 Verado, 350, 400 is the perfect motor for that boat. It treats you just right, and it makes that boat, in my mind, the perfect package.
So yeah, we're within a couple weeks of having Mark's boat finished, and we're excited about it as much as Mark's excited about it. When that boat is finally done, he'll be taking delivery of it, and it'll be put, boom, right into action. So he's jazzed up, he's ready to go. It's exciting times.
When we return, FS Boating editor George Labonte joins Dreamboat owner Mike Klauck aboard his fully restored 21-foot Mako in this week's One Man's Dreamboat segment. This segment brought to you by Mako Marine. Control the edge.
Safety is paramount when boating. That's why Taco developed the Grand Slam 800 VHF antenna mount. Easily raise and lower your boat's antenna by simply unlocking the crank handle from the base and turning. It's quick, easy, and best of all, safe. No more climbing on gunnels, seats, or tops just to adjust your antenna. Find out more about the Grand Slam 800 VHF antenna mount at tacomarine.com.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us for this week's One Man's Dreamboat segment with Florida Sportsman Boating editor George Labonte as we feature anglers who have already launched their dream. Florida Sportsman began these features 30 years ago, and the dreams just keep getting better.
Today we're back in Stuart, Florida to meet up with Mike Klauck. Now Mike might be a familiar face to a lot of you, and there's a good reason for that. Mike's actually been on the show before, and he's a professional boat painter by trade. And he's recently had the opportunity to take his own personal 20-foot Mako and restore it to better than new condition.
When we first started this project, it was simply just to get me out on the water, get my family out on the water. My first date with my wife was fishing. I mean, it's what we do. Every bit of free time we have, that's where we're at. It's our love, our passion. So when I had the opportunity to get this boat, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go an over crazy build. I just wanted to put a motor on it, make sure the wiring was good, and make sure it was a solid boat that I could take my family out and go fishing. And as these always go, one thing leads to another, and I wound up with the boat that I have now. When we started in on it, it was just one thing after another. You know, obviously it's a 1977 Mako, so fuel tank had to go. But the beautiful thing was nobody messed with it. It was all original. The stringers were still good, the floor was still good, transom was still good. So we started playing with the idea of closing the transom in, getting rid of the original fish boxes, because when you're standing back there, there's just no room for another person to walk around. So then we cut the floor out, put in custom fish boxes in the floor. Now that was kind of a feat in itself because it was a stringer there when we first started. So we had to cut the stringer out and really beef that area up to make sure it was still going to have the integrity that it had from factory. Next thing I did, I was looking at the console. I was trying to figure out how I was going to lay my electronics out. And I just really didn't like the low console that the Makos had. So I took the original console and I just added to the top to fit my personal likings. I had several different mock-ups before I actually came to what it is today. With the T-top as customized as I did it, I think that's the craziest part of the build. It's a one-off T-top that I've never seen before. We took teaser reels and made plugs to be able to fit into it where they're recessed. And then we fed it through the hardtop itself like you'd see on a 60-foot sport fish boat. Roberto from Marine Customs Unlimited really helped me out with a lot of the glass work. After he finished up on some of the glass work that I just hadn't been able to get a hold of, it was on to priming and painting, body work, you know, all the fun stuff. I was able to take my passion and my job and put it into something fun for me and my family. My wife was out there at 9, 10 o'clock at night trying to meet a deadline so we can get it primed, and it was a big family event doing this. A lot of stuff I was lucky enough being in the industry where I'm at I was able to barter Vic that works for Marine Customs Unlimited. He did all my canvas work. Dave Singer, an employee that used to work there, he did all my rigging. He wired my whole entire boat. You know, I owe a lot to a lot of the guys that I work with who have helped me out through the years. I mean, it took me 5 years to do this boat. And like I said before, the boat really wasn't gonna be this. But in 5 years, every time you customize something and you body work this area, and then all of a sudden your buddy's like, oh dude, you should do this. Well, we did basically everything everybody said.
Now Mike and his family really enjoy fishing. In fact, it's their passion. And they built this boat as a vessel to get them on the water fishing. Mike absolutely covered every detail.
I mean, I've been fishing my whole life. Fishing's my passion, it's my love. You know, I met my wife and she's done the same thing. I mean, every chance she had, she went with her dad. She did crappie fishing to snook fishing. I mean, it's what we do, it's what we love. The minute we got the boat done, it may have taken 5 years, but the minute we got the boat done, I got my kids out there, there's no electronics. You know, we get to get back to being families, not, you know, staring at phones. That's probably the biggest thing for me, is I get to connect with my kids and my wife on levels that you just don't get to do on a day-to-day basis.
At the end of the day, when the fishing finishes up, Mike very often finds himself with the family back at the Stewart Sandbar. This is a place where a lot of people like to go and relax when they're done fishing. Mike was at the sandbar on this particular day, and I had a chance to jump on board and look this boat over a little bit more closely. And you could see that he was a professional in every corner of the boat.
I don't really think I was aiming to have this quality of a level. I mean, I do this on a day-to-day basis, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be just a boat to get out, rinse it down real quick when you're done, and call it a day. But once you've gone to a certain level, it just wouldn't have done the boat justice. So at a certain point, we decided that it's all or nothing. We've put so much into it. We've done so many different little tweaks and customizations that just, you couldn't go backwards on. And the end result, we went top notch, over the line, crazy, and I couldn't be happier.
For Mike, being a professional boat painter, he finds himself spending most of his time working on other people's projects and neglected his own project. At the end of the day, the boat he ended up with was well worth the wait. This is probably one of the nicest restorations we've seen on the show.
After an initial investment of $8,500, spending $16,500 on repairs and custom modifications, the cost of Mike's Dreamboat comes to a total of $25,000. When we return, the experts at Birdsall Marine Design build a custom top for Corey's 23-foot Seacraft project. This segment brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as the experts at Birdsall Marine fabricate a custom T-top for the 23-foot Seacraft project.
Yeah, so we met up at Wildfire Marine with Mike and Corey, the 23 Seacraft owner, and we had went over some details of where the legs should go and what the top may look like. We came back to Birdsall's and we basically went over everything, made up a blueprint of it, and fabricated the top at Birdsall's here. It's what we call a single bow T-top, so it has a perimeter frame that holds the canvas. It's not too big, not too small for the boat. It's going to be adequate for sunshade and yet at the same time look nice. Corey ended up, there's a choice in different rod holders. You can obviously get, you know, as many basically that'll fit on the back of the top. Most people get 4 rod holders. There's a choice of a straight style rod holder, which the tube is kind of straight, which is sort of a classic look. And then there's another rod holder called a tulip rod holder.
and it flares out, and it's got an incorporated pin in the bottom of it, so it's a little cleaner looking. So Corey ended up wanting the tulip rod holders. We ended up putting the outrigger plates, which is kind of cool. Where you're doing a build, it's kind of a universal plate. Most of the manufacturers, outriggers, bolt in. If you decide later on you want to troll or do some fishing with outriggers, you have the ability to purchase whoever outriggers you want and install them at that time. He also did go with a radio box. It's a new fiberglass box that Birdsalls has recently built several molds for the sizes. It's got some contoured front to it. It's a very nice style line. He did choose to put the running lights on the top. We are using the Lumitech as a surface-mounted running light, which is a really nice light. The spreader lights also are Lumitech. Very nice, small, compact light. Put the necessary flanges and stuff up for all the attachment points. Then we moved over to the console and leg build. So at that point, we hovered the top up over the console, positioned where it was going to be, the radio box placement, the H-member placement, which holds the radio box in the legs, as we call it, and the amount of overhang in the front and in the back. So we position the top, and that kind of starts out the build of the legs. So as far as the design, I kind of had something in my mind when we were going over the top leg structure with Mike and Corey, and they seemed to both like where we were heading with that. And then Bruce and myself went over some stuff, and we just at that point started rolling some pipe and taking a look at where we wanted the leg to end up on the deck in relationship to the front of the console, and where the back leg would roll in, and you can get around it easy. It looks real nice, came out great. We were able to put some crown and some style into the top. He ended up, I believe the hull is going to have it's going to be a Whisper Gray hull with a blue boot stripe. So he ended up picking out, the canvas is a Weblon. It's a vinyl style material. So he got the white on gray Weblon, which is going to look really cool. The finished product of everything that Wildfire Marine has done and everybody that's contributed to this boat build, Birdsall's items, the top, the rocket launcher, the upholstery, everything is going to be spectacular. He's going to be overjoyed with the whole project. I'm sure of that.
Next week on Florida Sportsman, Project Dreamboat, Wildfire Marine continues work on the 23-foot Seacraft. George Labonte joins Dreamboat owner Norm Beckhoff aboard his 1977 28-foot Ricky Scarborough. And Two Rivers Boatworks customizes the engine cowlings on the 27-foot Stewart Boatworks build.